Welcome back to Cinema Buckets. Today, I'm thrilled to welcome a truly inspiring and groundbreaking artist. He's a Grammy-winning music producer, author, known for redefining family music with vibrant storytelling, bilingual creativity, and a sound that blends cultures, genres, and generations. Please welcome the one, the only, Lucky Diaz. How you doing today, Lucky?
Oh, really well. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem, man. Like I said, when I had Craig on, and he was like, "Oh, you have to get my buddy, Lucky on." I go, "Well, what's his real name?" And he's like, "Lucky." I'm like, like, "Oh, I didn't know that. That's pretty cool. You don't get that, that many people with, different names like that." So again, welcome in, and I appreciate you coming on and talking about your career, man.
Oh, I appreciate you having me. I generally don't like talking about myself, so it's probably but it's fun to talk with other makers, people making things. And
Hmm.
so thanks for having me here. And I'm excited to make things together with you here today. But that's great. And we had previously talked that you're, Cuban, and I have Cuban family, and you're South Florida roots, and that's pretty exciting to me. So we can just talk about pastelitos for an hour if you
I
want.
mean, we can definitely talk about food and how much of that is such a big difference. Like when I went, like culture wise, right? One of
Right.
your things that you like to incorporate in your music, in your storytelling, your books is cultures, right? And I had a culture shock coming over here to Dallas, Texas for the first time. It's way different when you have. Um, you're just stuck in a certain bubble, right? And then
Sure.
once you start exploring other avenues and stuff, I mean, it could take a little bit to adjust. Texas took a little bit to adjust just because the people are so friendly, you know?
Yeah.
In Florida, not a lot of people say good morning or hi, how are you? And so that was getting adjusted to people commenting on my haircut. I remember being in San Antonio with my wife and the guy, and this was, years ago, and the guy was like, "Hey man, nice hair." And I was like, "Is this guy making fun of my haircut? Like what's happened?" Like I didn't know how to take what he said because in Miami no one just goes around saying, "Hey, nice haircut," you know? So
Sure.
it was a culture shock. So
Well, you do have nice hair, so
thank you, thank you,
that's a good haircut. That's nice. That's a clean fade you got going.
thank
So
you, man.
I I think cultural connection is so important. I think that like part of what I do is I'm trying to connect, my own cultural experience with not only people that share that, but also people that don't know about it. That
Mhm.
especially in these days, like just trying to spread positivity, and
Absolutely.
and I think a lot of my work is based on well, a lot of it's based in food and the my cultural identity and just being an ambassador for goodwill because like with Paletero Man, one of my books is kind of like who doesn't love ice cream? We can disagree about a lot of different things, but we can all agree that ice cream is delicious and it's
Yeah,
good.
I mean, you have several books here. I mean, I don't know, I'm just saying, but this one's pretty good, and
Oh, you have a paleta. Oh,
yeah,
hasta tienes una paleta. Oh, wow, dude,
yeah,
you're
bro.
you got me. You got wow. That's what is that? Like lemon lime?
Yeah, it's lemon lime, man. Yeah, I surprised you. I surprised you. This shit was melting on the side. I'm like, I need to say this real quick before this thing ends up not.
Oh, that's impressive, man. I wish I had funny, ironically, I'm diabetic, so
Oh
I
no.
yeah, which is really funny because I write stories about food often
Oh my
and
God.
like
How cruel is that?
it is. But it works out, but I do lots of events and they're always so nice. They'll get a paletero and they'll give away free paletas to the kids. And I'm like, hey, do you want a paleta? And I'm like, oh, thing is I'm diabetic, so probably not. Thank you. And sometimes they're really fancy paletas también. They're like really high class paletas. I always joke that there's two different kinds of paletas. There's like juice paletas and then there's milk paletas.
Yeah,
It's like the
absolutely.
difference is like bicycle, Rolls Royce. You know what I mean?
It is a completely different. Again, my wife was the one that kind of introduced me to that because again, coming from Miami, I'm like, what's a pot? What? Like, what are
Paleta.
you talking about? And again, like she's Mexican, so she was like, "Oh, it's this," and we went to like a Mexican. She's like, "Oh, let's try some Mexican ice cream." I'm like, "What? What's the difference?"
Wait, but
And
what?
it is,
Yeah, but hold on, that's an but what do Cubanos call paletas? Helados, or what would
yeah,
they? Yeah.
helados. I mean, I always said that, regardless of what it was always an helado, like
Oh,
always.
okay, that makes okay, that tracks. I
Yeah.
guess, you know,
So then when
but
I came, I was like, paleta. I'm like, that's something else. And in Puerto Rico, that means something else. I don't know. Like, so it was, it was different. So it was something, like I said, I had to get adjusted to. Same thing with speaking, right? Um, my wife is half Mexican, half from Nicaragua. So
oh
like
wow.
her, yeah, so her dialect, her language is a little bit, her Spanish, some words say are different from mine. So I remember the first time talking to her and I have, obviously Cuban slang and I said something to her and she's like, "What'd you call me?" And she totally misunderstood what I said. Again, from her language, it was completely different, like slang. And I said, "Hey, from this day on, maybe we shouldn't speak Spanish to each other. We just speak English," because she was really pissed off. So it's crazy, even within the Spanish community, how like words can be interpreted and
It's a different interpretation. Yeah, I remember the one Mexican word for straw is popote, but Cubanos don't say popote. And I remember being in Miami and asking for a popote, and they were looking at me like, what's a popote?" And I was like, a straw, But so yeah, there's all these different words that are. I don't know. As Latinos, it's interesting that we're definitely not a monolith, but we should definitely. I love bringing us all together. My personal goal is to try to, you know what I mean, like embrace all of it because we're all so similar. We all have to face so many similar experiences, but good and bad, So it's like I think that's interesting that you shared that in your existence in Dallas as a Cuban is different, right? Than
absolutely.
what it would be. I guess it's my experience as being a Mexican in South Florida.
Hmm.
But the difference is, like I mentioned before, we started your podcast here is that I had grown up influenced and around a Cuban family. So
Exactly.
and my brother still lives in South Beach to this day, and he really loves Miami. And I think Miami is a cool city. It's not for me. I'm definitely a Californian, but my experience is also different being a Mexican and in South Florida. But even when I speak Spanish, it's like kind of non-denominational accent. So they're like, "Oh, where are you? Are you Mexican? Are you
Yep.
Cuban? Or are you like?" If you go to Spain, my wife and I were in Spain recently. They're like, "Oh, they're definitely Mexican." Oh, thanks. Like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But even my English accent is very Californian.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
didn't know this until very recently. Someone pointed it out,
Plotted it out.
and I asked my wife, and she's like, "Yeah, well, of course, you totally sound." And I don't know what that sounds like. And
Because
she
we're
said,
used
"Well,
to
it's
it.
kind of like it's laid back on the syllable a little bit, like."
Yeah, so you talk more like relax, I
So
mean,
you're
I understand. I hear it every day. So like, it's just it's like you extend the word. That's where you're going for, bro. Like it's
wow, that's interesting, like, dude. Apparently I didn't know this either. Maybe but I didn't know that there was recently a video on like Instagram or something, and it was like these kids with these really heavy New York accents from like like from the 80s about saving water, and the kid's New York accent was super neat. And I won't even try to do it because it'd be really bad. But
it's New York, dude.
people started commenting that regional accents don't exist anymore because of the internet and social media, and like
Oh,
so we children don't really. I mean, they might, but not in the same at the same level, I guess.
I
And
might.
I'm not a speech anthropologist, so I couldn't tell you.
You know what? To be honest with you, I'm thinking about it right now. I don't know because again, I don't know many children because I know I have people from the East Coast I have friends with, but I don't know if their kids have that heavy accent. I know in Boston you hear it all the time. I mean they say
Yeah.
car, I'm going to the car like that's oh my God, it like stings my ears. It's
Hey,
such a bad. This is
oh,
bad.
yeah. So no, man. I think that yeah, but and I mentioned that like cubanos tienen el acento así en la boca. You know, they're like, and I don't even know if you speak if it's similar to that, but pero mexicanos no hablamos así, you know, like, but it's interesting, fascinating, man. It's interesting. Anyways,
Yeah, my wife says my Spanish is all like in one sentence. We don't breathe. When you talk Spanish, it's like a she said it's a running sentence. We don't stop. We just continue. So she's like it's really hard like to pick up like my mother-in-law as well. She says you guys say socks calcetines. I never heard that in my life. When she told me
what?
that before, I was like Perdóname, like what? Like what are you saying? And my wife's like, no, she's saying socks. I'm like, no, that's medias. Like that's what I call it. I don't know what you guys.
Oh, medias. Oh,
Yeah, so
that's what we would call like stockings.
that's what she said, and I was like, oh no, no, that's socks to me. So it's crazy.
That's like a lady wearing. I would remember
Exactly.
my mom would be wearing lady stockings. Medias are
So
those, but not
yeah,
calcetines. Calcetines are socks. I mean, although I'm here in East LA, so they're the same thing. You know, you get your sock check. These socks are 2 feet tall, man. They go all the way to the knees.
there we go. And then it talks about like we talk about like food and the difference. They're like, oh, I'd rather go like my friend, she lives in Dallas, Texas. She's like, oh, I want to go to LA and get real Mexican food. It's different over there compared to, Texas, Tex-Mex food. And I mean, some people see the difference, some people don't. I
I mean, I think
definitely
no, but it's definitely different. It's like,
definitely different.
man, but no, my parents live in San Antonio now. They
Okay.
moved there maybe 10 years ago, but my dad says that the beef in Texas is too beefy.
Yep.
I'm like, I don't know what that means, but because I love beef,
Hmm.
but yeah, Mexican food is definitely well, it's Tex-Mex there, but even they say that their Mexican food is too Tex-Mex like.
Yep. Yep.
And I see that for sure. I have an affinity for all Mexican food,
Hmm.
whether it's what I call rice and beans Mexican. That's like when you go to like a cantina or
Yeah.
like you like or even a national chain like um they're using like not like what was that one like El Torito, El Torito or like Chi-Chi's or things like that.
Hmm.
Not Chevy's because Chevy. Do you remember Chevy's? You're a little
Yeah.
young, but there used to
No,
be.
they still have them.
Yeah, but that's Tex-Mex. But that's not like
Yeah.
I would still kind of categorize it as rice and beans Mexican, but that's more Tex-Mex.
Do you
You get like
guys have like taco casa? Like I'm trying to think of like stuff around my house that's like Tex-Mex. There's taco casa,
you got
uh,
taco cabana.
taco cama. That's another
Yeah.
one. You have Rosa's Cafe. I don't know if you guys have that. And
No, we don't have any of those things. I mean,
oh
you have
no,
HEB though, so you have everything.
we
Hey, I
we
got
just.
nothing for
Oh
HEB
my
love.
God! Don't even talk about it. My mom and my wife have been there since last week, man. They just opened one
Yeah.
right here down the street from us, and that's all they talk about. My mom's like, go to HEB, go to HEB, and that thing's
Oh
packed.
man, I need an HEB. We need HEB sponsorship, bro. Like I nothing but love for HEB as well. Like
Oh.
my wife had never been to an HEB.
Hmm.
I took her to visit my parents in Texas, and I was like, oh, like let's go to HEB. And she's like, what's that? I'm like, oh, it's a grocery store. And she was like, oh, I'm not interested in that. I'm like, I think you're gonna be interested in this. And so we went, and dude, she was blown out of the water. Like
Yeah.
she didn't even know. Like, yeah.
It's like one of the main two things that you need in Texas is HEB and a Bucky's. If you got that, you're good to go. Everyone loves that. It's
Oh,
like,
you have Torchies there?
yeah, we have Torchies. Yeah, it's not too bad. It's just I think it's a little overpriced for what they give you. Like I would want more food to that. Like I'm like, man, it's $6 for a taco. I'm like,
I
which
won't disagree with you. It is pricey. I mean,
yeah. I
that's
was
like,
like,
yeah, I do like it though. I when I'm in
it's not
Austin, I go to
it's not
Torchies.
bad. It's not bad at all.
I
But yeah.
mean, I never met a taco I didn't like, anyways.
I mean, it's hard to mess up. Oh, there's another one. I don't know if you guys have it. It's called Velvet Taco. It's on the
Nah.
no or what?
The only taco we have here is Taco Bell. And no, and all the street tacos. Like that's the thing. Taco culture is so good here that like all the puestos like around the neighborhood are like that's where you get tacos. I mean, and again, rice and bean Mexican places. There's so much good food almost
Mm,
everywhere. Like I happen to like the food in Texas. There's just so much quantity.
yeah.
Like I couldn't live in Texas because I would like I'm fighting not being huge here. Like I don't even know how people like, dude, you get a plate of food there. That's like for a family of four, bro.
Yep. No, 100%. That's why
I
when I went to Canada, I starved half to death because I was like, the food portion. I'm like, this is not food. This is what do you? This is like not even an appetizer. Like I get more in an Applebee's or Chili's appetizer than this. Like this is, and that's why half of Americans are pretty hefty too. You know, so say everything's bigger in Texas, including the people, most likely the people. So
That's true. I think, it's funny. My wife's from the Midwest, and
mhm.
she kind of like, we kind of did the math together. We're trying to eat as well as we can and stuff. I think that the weather in the Midwest, not where you are, and it doesn't apply to Texas, but like, I just think in Texas the portions are big. But I think in the Midwest, what happens is that the winters are just so fierce in the East
Brutal.
and Midwest. And what happens is like you're inside a lot. And so, of course, things like football, like sports, like televised sports are a big deal because it's something to do because you can't really go outside, right? And
Yeah,
then like what happens is I think over time people gain like 3 to 5 pounds in the winter time,
yeah,
but then you multiply that by 10 years
yeah.
and you're cruising 30 to 50 pounds on top of your frame, but that you may have not have had if you lived in a place where the weather
Agree.
was right.
Yep, I agree.
I
So,
don't. I This is just a theory. I'm just theorizing.
no, I mean,
I'm
I
also
mean,
not a nutritionalist, but
so that we're aiming at not a nutrition, not okay, got
not a speech pathologist. I'm not any of these things, but these
got
are
you.
just random thoughts that I have, I guess.
There you go. That's well. Let's talk. Let's dive into some of your random thoughts on the creative process and music. Again, how,
Yeah.
but what led you to becoming a musician? Was there any um, talent out there that you loved listening to?
Yeah, it's funny. My parents, like, our family music was just kind of what we had on the radio. My parents, being Mexican immigrants, didn't have uh culturally in our home, it was, I don't know, like a lot of Mexican households, it's all about work, 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 work all the time. Immigrant households are all about work and survival. And so, like, music was enjoyable, always had the radio on all the time,
That's a
24 hours a day. My parents had really, my mom really likes like current music at that time and even now, but like I think that so she brought all the current stuff and my dad just kind of loved all that like AM radio stuff. So I kind of like grew up on everything from and then the sounds of my community, which were everything from like Selena or Los Bukis or like Mana, a lot of like, rock en español or like and then the stuff that my dad would play on the radio would be like AM radio stuff like Santana, Doobie Brothers, like CCR, stuff like that. And so I really, and of course the Beatles. And so like that was the musical influence. And I wanted to be, I was really into baseball when I was a kid. I still love baseball as a fan, as an adult, but like, um, and I wanted to be a baseball player. My mom bought me a guitar. Well, she kind of didn't really buy it for me. What happened was like I was running like a little hustle. I was a newspaper boy,
mhm.
like most little hustlers, I had cash on me kind of all the time. And like most like Latina mothers, they're like, "Oh, can I borrow a 20? Because I don't want to go to the ATM." And again, in those days, there was, things like Zelle or like
Yep.
didn't exist. And so like, you didn't get like on Friday, you didn't go to the bank to get cash for the weekend. You'd be strapped, you wouldn't have cash really. And there were what they called like, there were ATMs. I mean, I didn't grow up with dinosaurs or anything, but like it wasn't as like convenient as asking your child,
Yeah.
like, oh, do you have any, can you lend me like $40 or whatever it was? And I was like, yeah, sure. And so like, and then she came back later that must have been on Saturday and then Sunday. She's like, oh, she came back with a guitar case and she's like, oh, here's your $40 or whatever it was I lent her. And I'm like, that's not cash, that's a guitar. And she's like, I know, I bought this with the money you lent me. And I'm like, no, I want my cash back. I don't want this. I'm like, what am I gonna do with that? And it sat in my closet for like probably like 6 months. And I was like 9 years old, maybe 9 or 10. And like eventually I was like so bored on a Saturday afternoon, like bored out of my mind. And then I was like, oh, and again in those days, this is the beautiful thing about boredom is that it's the real, it's the accelerator of
Creativity.
creation. And so like I think now we're robbed of it, you know, like now I'm guilty of that too, like picking up my phone and being distracted on Instagram or something when I should
Yep.
be creating things because I was just bored. And so I was bored out of my mind. And I was like, you know, I got that guitar in that closet. That thing must be kind of cool. Like guitars are inherently
Hmm.
cool. So I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. Let me take it out. So I took it out, and there was a Van Halen song playing on the radio,
Nice.
and it was in the same key. It was in the key of A, and the guitar has an A string. And I would just play. I was playing the A string, and it like connected. That it was I was playing with the song, and it was like electric. I was like, what the whoa, man! That's like I'm actually wow, that's pretty cool. And from that moment on, I was like, oh man, I want to, of course. And then I saw like Back to the Future and watching,
Oh,
you
Michael J. Fox.
watch Michael J. Fox playing, Johnny Be Good, and like as a kid, that probably happened maybe around the same time, and I was like, whoa, man, I whatever that is, that's what I want to do. Like that is cool. That guy, that thing, whatever, all of that is cool. And I was already listening to like Chuck Berry and stuff like that. And yeah, that's how I got to just wanting to be a musician and then going and taking down that, being in high school bands and, going to college and then like coming to LA to play music and be a songwriter and a session musician, which I did. And then that fast forwarded to having a child. And then, kind of my priorities were really focused on our kids. And like I wanted to be able to I was actually trying to write songs for our eldest daughter, entertaining her at bath time. That's how this all started for like making children's music. And at that time, there was not a lot of cool stuff, but there was some cool
Mhm.
like children's music. And of course, like there's timeless stuff like Ella Jenkins or Sesame Street, stuff that's like really amazing. And at that time, there was a guy named Dan Zanes who is a friend of mine now, but then was making like some really cool, like just kind of just music that was not like it wasn't cheesy and patronizing. It was cool. Like,
Mhm.
he had like this song called All Around the Kitchen and man, it's just a great song. And so there was him, there might be Giants and a bunch of other people. And arguably I think all the early Beatles stuff is all children's music, right? That no one ever calls children's music. But if you listen to like all that early stuff, it's just like, well, it's music for everybody. And so then I wanted our daughter to see, you know, that creating is just part of the human condition as a gift that we're able to all do. It's a God given, you know, universe is providing this gift to us. It differentiates us, makes us humane, right? And talk about the
Yeah.
humanities and about like making things. And so I wanted our eldest daughter, to see that it was just very easy to write a song and put things together. And out of that, my wife was like, you should record some of those and should put them out and see just to kind of put them out because my daughter's friends started asking me to play those songs like at barbecues and stuff. And they're like, "Oh, you have that funny song about a bear. Can you sing that song?" And I would just be like, I'm like, sure, like that sounds fun. And I was kind of seeing how I was able to connect,
Mhm.
like my inner child with the kids and how much they enjoyed it and how it just felt good. It was good. It was a good thing. And now fast forward to me sitting here now, like I couldn't imagine how this was going to shake out. I didn't have much of a plan, but I think in doing anything personally, I want to do my very best. Like I always want to do the best I can do. So if I'm gonna write a
Mhm.
song, try to write the best song I can. If I'm gonna write a book, I'm gonna do it. If I'm gonna make a taco, it's gonna be the best taco I can make,
There you
right?
go.
So
Uh,
like and that's our own personal like wish, right? Like just
mhm.
making it like I always tell kids now when I do author visits and stuff is that even if you made a sandwich today, it's something that didn't exist in the universe until now. And you get to pick everything about it. I mean, of course, like, whatever you have around, but like, you get to pick the bread, you get to pick what's inside of it, just
Mhm.
like a taco.
Yeah.
Do you want like flour, corn, tortilla? Do you want what kind of protein you want in that? Do you want some beans? Do you want salsa? Get a salsa, get a vegetales. What do you want on it? Like we all create that. And I think that so many people say, well, I'm not creative. I'm like, well, I don't know.
Did
Did
you
you go
try?
did you go to Chipotle? I don't know. Did you put together your own bowl?
Yeah.
Right? they
Yeah.
may not physically, they're more a producer then. They're not maybe like maybe they're not the artist, they're not the bowl artist or the Subway sandwich artist, but like they're the ones choosing the things. And I think that that's a creative process. That's a
Yep.
creative success. And I think that we have to give ourselves more credit that way. But I always joke that like, hey man, let's do that. You know, let's make things. And that's how I ended up just making music, creating music. And I, as a creative, I think, I mean, I don't know, man. I love music. I love all kinds of music, wherever it comes from. I love the way that music connects people. You know, I
Hmm.
went to go see Paul McCartney a couple years ago, and I was more. I mean, it was cool to see Paul McCartney, but
Hmm.
I was more fascinated with the crowd. I
I
spent a lot
loved.
of time watching the crowd sing together and be one for just a few minutes, a few moments.
Yeah.
And like, especially now that things are so divisive, and I won't get into how I feel about it personally, but what I can say is that it felt good to just see people connecting over something like that. And you can tell that people came from all different walks of life, you know, from rich to poor to creative to not, like, or whatever, wherever the background was, ethnic, or like, wherever ethnicity or culture or religion, it didn't matter. The music transcended. And I think that's one of the things about like the Beatles, especially, that is like, I always say it's kind of like sharing a Coca-Cola. You can go anywhere in the world, and I've been to a lot of different places. And if you give someone a cold Coke on a hot day, like, that is like an act of love.
Hmm.
And I think that listening to the Beatles is an act of love, because watching people connect over that and say, like, yeah, man, like, what a great song. We are singing this together.
Hmm.
And, I feel somehow my hope is that we can somehow get back to that. I mean, it sounds very idealistic, but my hope is that we can, I don't particularly think, I will say, I don't think that whatever's happening in government now, I don't think is promoting oneness or unity. So like, I will say that.
Yeah, definitely 100%. It's more
And
division
so,
than anything, but
yeah, and I won't get into it, but I will say that I feel like that's why the arts, the humanities creating is so important, that we can all connect and we can get to know each other better, and find common ground, and just feel good and be like, you know what I mean? Because I think inherently people are good. I
yeah.
think people want good things for other people. I want your kids to have shelter, education, food, safety, joy, just like you would probably want that for my children. So like, we can agree about that, and I think that the music is like that language, that universal language of connection. So that's why I guess I chose this format. I mean, who doesn't want to be in a rock band? I guess I don't I don't know.
I mean, I think it's something that it's really, I think it's moving and just sometimes just like to kind of realize, because this is why I try to like analyze and kind of be in that person's shoes. So like imagine being, yes, it could be a little bit tiresome, right? Of, touring and being, traveling, but to know that you wrote a song and then have everyone in front of you, first of all, show up to see you, which is already probably like crazy. And then
Yeah,
the fact that they're singing your song, the lyrics that you wrote, that you kind of busted your ass, these people are singing it word by word. It probably is such a crazy feeling. Like it's giving me goosebumps just thinking about that experience as an artist, as a performer, you know?
it's really something special, man. I think like and that's why the books are especially so powerful, because I go to lots of places, thankfully, and you see pretty well loved books that, like, a child has like really, yeah, just like that. They'll wore it out and it won't have the dust cover anymore, and it'll just be like, they'll know the stories of the characters,
Yep.
and it's something that's so, it's incredible to connect, especially now where there's so many things, man. There's like so much stuff coming at us in terms of content, even. Like,
Yep.
I don't I would there's we all kind of, there's so much TV to watch, there's so many films to watch, there's so many songs to listen to, there's so much, right? And so I'm always so touched and moved that someone has taken the time to make anything that I make, and make it part of their family. Like, um Yeah, man, it's just wild, dude. I just think it's like, I recently, well, like maybe like, this last year, like some well-known like celebrity who I won't say what his name is, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm such a fan of yours. And he was like, I'm a fan of you. And I was like, how is that even possible? He's like, oh, no. He goes, oh, well, we put on like, we put on your music every night for our son to go to sleep. And we know all these songs. And I was like, that's wild, man. Like I was like that like really tripped me out because I was like, what? You're like, no man, you're making cool stuff. I was like, no man, you're making cool things. So I was like, I don't know about that, but so I don't know. I just kind of want to I want the good energy to be like, throughout just connected. And yeah, when again, if someone sees the uses the things I make or hears them, listens to them, reads them, sees them, I think it's like, wow, what a that the whole it comes full circle, right? It's like,
Yeah,
wow.
100%. I think it's very powerful just knowing that you could connect with not only the parents but the kids, right? The kids are is the future of everything of art,
Yeah.
right? And just to not lose that, I guess, humane part and still try to instill culture, instill lessons, I think is really important. I constantly put some shows that I used to watch growing up, and the shows are
Yeah,
complete.
what do you hold on to? I'm just curious, like what show did you be putting on for your
So
kids?
so like I liked watching back in the day Doug. I love Doug.
Oh
Hey
yeah,
Arnold. I liked Sonic. Even Sonic, the original, like the 94
the
series.
OG one, yeah.
They have at the end of the show, they have one little skit that they go, "Hey kids," like I always refer this one. Hey, remember when you're crossing the street to look both ways. And something such and so small like that is
Yeah.
such a big difference in a kid. And I feel like
Yeah.
the lessons nowadays in television and kids, it's not there. Full House is another one. I was raised on Full House because
Oh
damn,
yeah.
every single man, Danny Tanner was teaching them girls like,
Yeah, Jesse, he's the coolest
yeah,
dude.
like,
He's the coolest dude ever, man.
yeah, like you and but they have the each of those episodes had a moral, had something to learn from, and they don't. I feel like they don't have that anymore. It's just
I think a lot of yeah, a lot of children's programming, quote unquote, now is like very amplified and it's very kind of more like it's almost kind of like it's more for adults even than anything else. It's kind of like trying to like really, I don't know, man. It's there's so much stuff, and that's I'm just generalizing. There's a lot of really great children's
yeah.
programming and things being made. It's just like, but yeah, I can relate. There's something about a lot of those older shows and stuff that kind of played more universally. You know what I mean? I guess like the messaging was like really positive, like less kind of on the nose, maybe. I don't know, but.
Yeah, it's like I said, so I'm all about that because I've seen some of the stuff they do now, and I get it. It's a day and age of YouTube and this and that. But when you
YouTube's
look,
intense. Yeah, it's a fast. A friend of mine's an editor, and he's like, yeah, And I was asking about the art of editing, and this person has edited like Tarantino films, like big stuff.
Mhm.
And he's like an old school dude, only works in film. He's since retired, but he's like, yeah, do me a favor, man. I asked him all these questions about editing. He's like, just all you got to do now is like you turn off the volume on a show or a film, man, and just watch it for a second and notice how intensely fast all the cuts are, man. And then you take something older and you do the same, and you'll see
oh,
how
now,
much slower drawn out it is. And it's like, and I never really noticed it, but now I do. And so when I go to the movies, my wife and I are just like, wow, like we don't even take like our daughter can't handle the first that those preview things
too
because
quick.
oh man, it's coming in hot, man, and
Mhm.
loud and fast. And like, but I think as people that have, as viewers or as it gets we also get desensitized to the fact that it's coming in so hot. And so then we expect everything to be like louder, hotter, louder, bigger, flashier. So
Mhm.
where's the magic of like simplicity? I think also too, like, kids also have a lot of access to things, man. I can't remember. I wasn't around for like, let's say Star Wars when Star Wars was in the movies, like when it was like out. But I hear people talk about it like it was a transformative experience,
Yeah.
seeing things that like, oh my God, I never seen anything like that.
Yep.
But what do children have now? Like really, what do I mean? I don't know. Like you kind of like
Yeah,
there's not a lot of wowing much now, right? So
absolutely.
I don't know. I mean, again, it's an opinion, but everything comes in so hot and so big and so much, right?
Yep.
And I don't know. Maybe it's bringing it back. Maybe even talking about it, like, oh, maybe it's just about stripping it down and maybe like,
Even going to the movies. Going to the movies back in the day was a thing that we used to love doing. We used to love going to the movies and here, can you take this? Because it's melting. Here, take it from me. Sorry. Like even going to the movies, nowadays everything is streamed. You can have it right here.
true.
And it sucks just because I try to do it where like I try to make a bigger deal than it is to them, maybe. Like my 8-year-old, I'm like, hey, let's go to the movies, let's go get popcorn, let's go get candy. And then
Yeah.
like just to try to hype him up, sometimes he's just like, oh, okay. And because back in the day, like the movies was an experience for me.
Funny enough, I actually went to go see Back to the Future last week with my
Although when they brought it back to
yeah,
movie,
re-release,
yeah.
which was really funny because like yeah, man, it was a trip to watch it. But it was so cool to watch it that way because
Hmm.
I had seen that movie, man, I've seen it 100 plus times or something. And I actually saw things on the big screen.
That
Again,
you
I
didn't
wasn't
notice.
I was yeah, that I noticed. I just didn't notice before. Like next time you watch that movie, pay attention and maybe you had seen it, but I hadn't. So like the scene in the opening sequence, there's like all the clocks in Doc Brown's like laboratory, right? His apartment.
Hmm.
And then there's all the clocks. But there's
And
one
the
moment,
guy that's hanging on.
there's a guy that's hanging
Yep,
off one of the clocks.
yep, that was
And I
it.
had never seen it, like,
Yep.
because I had never seen it in a movie theater before. And I was just like, oh my God, like it was such
They're
a,
they're foreshadowing it right in front of you.
oh man, it was amazing. I was like, whoa, man, it was like really tripped out. I thought it was fun, but
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, they have.
but
And then
yeah.
that's one of those movies where you can go back, even like the Pines Mall, like when he comes back, it's lone because he knocked down the pine trees. They changed the name of the.
Oh man, there's so many things.
Yeah,
Dude, that movie, yeah, that's like one of my top five favorite films.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
they'll never. I hope they don't try to, with the whole, especially nowadays with like remaking movies, like just leave
Well,
it
they
alone.
can't. Apparently, like
Oh, really?
Gale and Robert Zemeckis, the two dudes that wrote that, they when they made, I guess when they made their deal with Universal, they part of their deal was that they own the IP on it. So they I guess I don't know how the licensing deal works exactly, but like they solely retain the rights to make anything, and they refuse to
Wow,
make a remake.
good. Good
They,
for
they
them.
refuse to make a reboot of it, which is great because I don't want to see. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just it's a perfect piece of art. See, that's the thing, like the art of like, you don't repaint the Mona Lisa or like, you could and make it into something new, and that's cool, I guess. But like, I think things that are transformed. I mean, arguably, art should be manipulated in all different ways, but there's some work that is just so like perfect, literally perfect, that
I agree.
you just
That's
can't change
that
it.
that's one of them that's just like that's it. Just leave it alone.
It
Don't.
is, and this is such a, I don't know, my daughter doesn't get it. She's like, what's the big deal here? And I'm like, it's
Yeah,
okay.
but my son too. I mean, it's funny. It's you just gotta wait to show him in the proper time, because I remember showing him Jurassic Park, and he loved it, right? The
That
first one.
was another great movie. I remember being in the movie theater being like blown away.
Yeah, I was terrified. So like having that, right? And then wanting to show them, I guess, things, and that's how I kind of take like fatherhood when I'm trying to connect with my kid by showing him stuff that I was interested in. Hopefully it sparked something in him. Like I was big into Goosebumps, R.L. Stein. I wrote a lot of like little books when I was in third or fourth grade. And then my son can't stand, my oldest, my 8-year-old can't stand
Wait, he
reading.
doesn't like Goosebumps?
No, he likes Goosebumps, but he doesn't like reading. He doesn't like writing. He likes math, which is cool. I
It's
eventually kind of got him to like Goosebumps, But like you don't want to force a kid if he doesn't, if it's not his thing, it's not his thing. But to finally come around where now he was starting to write little Goosebumps books just like because I showed him, I'm like, hey, look, this is when I was your age. I used to sit down and write books too. And then he was like, oh, and just to see him even pique interest at something that you like is something that is probably like one of the top things of like being a dad to me. Is just like it's awesome because it's a good feeling that you guys can share the same thing that you guys kind of like, you know? So,
I totally, I mean, that's pretty amazing. Like, you're able to share that. Um, yeah, I do, yeah, it's funny. Goosebumps. I don't know. Like kids are all into, you never know what your kids are gonna get
yep,
into, like what they're gonna be. I'm all whatever they're into, I'm all
I'll
about it.
support them. Yep, I
I'm
agree.
I'm all like if they like I tell my girls like you can do anything you want. You want to be a fashion designer, a plumber, like it does the whole gamut. I'm
Mhm.
in. Like just be the best at whatever that is. So like, that's what I care about. You've heard them being passionate about it and caring about it, and then it's a big win. So like I'll always stand behind my girls and whatever they want to do. I'm in.
I
Like
mean, don't get me wrong. They watch some weird shit on YouTube now. I'm just like, I don't understand it. I don't. You probably again, you have girls, so unless they watch it too. But it's like skippity toilet. It's like the guys with the heads in the toilet. It's like giant toilet with the guy. It's the weirdest thing. But hey,
oh,
as
see, I don't know. I haven't seen
yeah,
that. So my wife is really good about like kind of making sure. I don't know if that stuff comes out. I'm sure it does. I'm sure my kids have seen it, but
yeah,
I don't know, like
definitely.
I was like my daughter's really into the Masked Singer now.
Okay,
We,
cool.
we don't watch TV like
Hmm.
linear TV like a live channel TV experience. We don't really do that. Like we just
Hmm.
have like everybody else like Netflix and Disney Plus and that kind of stuff. And so I guess my daughter found it on Disney or one of these streaming platforms and
Hmm.
she's watching all the seasons of it. I had never seen it myself. I'm like, oh, so I'm like, take it off.
Yeah.
Take it. I'm like getting caught up in this.
Yeah, it's an interesting concept, that show.
It was cool, man. I was, yeah. Am I a fan? Am I happy that my daughter finds some joy in it? Yeah, and she's next to the TV,
Mhm.
like sketching out some of her costume ideas and all that
Cool.
stuff.
See?
And so that works.
As long as it brings out like creativity and stuff like that, that's the
It
whole.
inspires, yeah, man, and that's what it moves the needle. And I think that is like, and yeah, and not only that, we've had a couple of friends work on that show,
Okay.
and see like the level of work that it takes to make that. But also that show is like it kind of goes back to what we were saying. It's like full on, man. There's not like one literally 10 seconds of that show that doesn't move.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like so and so saying this and that. It's just like it's fast, dude. I can't. It's taxing for me to watch it. Like I'm like,
I
oh
think it just goes to show you, just like the times. It like tries to keep up with the times, right? Like social media, like everything, like
no,
attention span has gone from something that you can watch for 30 minutes to something you can watch for 30 seconds. Like if it's not 30 seconds, you just skip through it, you know? Camera angles and stuff like that. I mean, my 8-year-old was into wrestling for the long.
nice. Oh, I love wrestling when I was a kid.
I loved it too, but if you go back and watch the WWF from, 95, 96 compared to maybe I'll send you a clip. I think it was like 2000 like 21 or 20, and
Yeah.
you couldn't the mat it was two people in the on the mat, and it was cutscene cut, and it was just like I'm getting dizzy. I can't even, like there's too many cutscenes. Before it was just, you get me? It was Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior, and it was a wide shot, and
Yeah.
it stayed there for the entire match. Now we're getting the
Yeah.
angles from underneath the guy. We're getting the top angle. We're getting the view around the whole stadium, and then it's too much. Like I just want to watch
Actually, I
it.
haven't seen wrestling in a long time, but I bet, yeah,
I'm gonna send you some clips. You're gonna be like, oh my God. I'm like, the jump scenes are
they're like
ridiculous.
a lot. It's like a bunch, huh?
It
It's
really is. It's
dude. I remember, dude. I just to show you how old I am. I remember going to like there would be WrestleMania. I don't know. They still even have WrestleMania.
yeah.
So like WrestleMania was an event, right? And it was like a
Hmm.
year. It was only once a year or
Yeah.
something. And we went to like an auditorium to watch that on a big old screen.
That's awesome.
You know what I mean? Because like we didn't have. I don't remember how it worked exactly, but I remember going to see like I can't remember WrestleMania five or it wasn't like the first one, but definitely it was already in. But dude, that's the other thing is that every kid talked about that one thing. There wasn't like now you talk about 300 different things, right? But in those
Yeah.
days, it was like the thing. So
Yep.
like,
Yeah. You're
oh
like, hey,
man,
what are you
you
guys
see
doing this
Macho Man,
weekend?
the Macho
Yep.
Man, Randy Savage, you know, oh yeah, like oh, you'd be talking about that at baseball practice or something.
Hmm.
That would be the whole. That would be all of it. Now, like, there's just like, oh, did you watch it on Netflix or Hulu?
Yeah.
You
Which
know,
streaming device did you see it on?
yeah, you
It's
watch it
like
on YouTube?
it's like asking a friend like when we talk about movies and stuff. You're like, oh, what streaming device did you see that on? And I'm like, I don't remember if it was on Netflix. Was it on Hulu? Was it on? Because I've gone through uh,
Yeah.
so many damn apps just to pick a movie because that's what we do. Usually, me and my wife take almost an hour to find a movie,
Oh
and by
my
the time we
God.
find a movie, we end up falling asleep, or I end up falling
That's
asleep.
it. Yeah.
It's just so many apps and stuff like that. But I mean,
What could you and your wife agree on as a movie that you would watch?
she likes so she likes Chucky. She was growing up. She loved Child's Play.
Oh, that's
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, again, that shows you the type of
I love
of
I
parenting,
love
right?
oh
She was
man,
like
it's so
6 years
good.
old watching Child's Play. I'm like, oh my God. But you know what? Hey, to each his.
Mexican households, man, we don't like nobody's supervising us. We're
Yeah,
just
she's
going.
like, hey, just watch it. Just go. Just
Yeah, it's
go.
like a free for all, man. Like I remember watching like my wife never watched like early Simpsons and like
Mhm.
Married with Children and stuff like that. That stuff is like before your time, I think. But like
No, Married Children's pretty good, but I
but
know I
in,
get you.
but in my day, that's what I'd be watching. But like I my in-laws wouldn't have allowed that. Like my wife knows nothing about any of that stuff. She's like, I don't know any of this stuff. Like I eat my shorts. She didn't know
Yeah.
anything. Like, yeah, like none of that.
Like my
No.
uncle had me watching Alien, like
Oh wow.
in the living room, like just chilling by myself. And then I was like thinking about it now. I'm like, I mean, I'm very like kind of like with the kids on what they watch. Like I try to keep everything PG. Try not to, but even something that with cursing and stuff. I'm like, hey, we'll watch it later on when the kids are sleeping and stuff like that. But yeah, back in the day, it was a free for all. It was a free for all, and it was
It's a free for
it was
all.
it was crazy. They just all right, as long as you're in the house, you guys are not killing each other. Yeah, you can watch whatever you want. So it
But
was
there wasn't also a lot to choose from
it's
either,
true.
like, and so like even if you have cable or something, which we didn't, like it would be, there wasn't a lot of there wasn't a lot to choose from. Now, like my wife and I go through the same kind of stuff, and now we've been married so long and together so long that like she just watches her stuff and I watch my stuff, and sometimes those things can come together. Like I'll watch one, I'll because I like being married. So what I like to do is like I'll watch a show, like
Hmm.
let's say I watch a pilot or something, and if I think that my wife is going to remotely like it, I'll be like, hey, you know what? I'll stop watching it, and I was like, hey, you know what? I
Let's
watched a
watch
show,
this. Yeah.
let's watch it. Can we watch this first episode together? If you like it, cool. If you don't, no worries. Because it'd be good enough for me to watch twice.
Hmm.
Also, we can connect over something. There's a show on ABC called High Potential,
Hmm.
and it's like it's like a crime show or whatever with some lady who's a genius. Like, and so I was like, I saw one episode of that, and I was like, oh, I think my wife will like this. And
Hmm.
sure enough, like she's like, oh, I liked it, and so we watch. That's how we find our
That,
stuff.
I mean, yeah, you definitely have to find like your little niche and stuff. I'm not too big on television shows. Um,
You're more movie watching.
yeah, I'm more movie watching. Well, first of all, I feel like if I'm gonna invest my time. And now the shows are almost as long as a movie, right? And that's just one episode. You're
Oh
watching.
my gosh, dude, that's right, man. Like, yeah, you watch one thing, like you
Yeah,
watch
you're like
an episode
that's
of
that's an
Shogun, and
hour.
it's
You're
like
an
oh my
hour
god,
in. You invested
yeah,
an hour. You still got to wait till next week, depending on how many seasons, how many episodes, and then on
yeah.
top of all, like sometimes the plot of the stories are really, really good, but they flesh it out too long where it gets drawn out and then I lose interest or they don't know how to conclude the ending to the
Yeah.
story. So I feel like, man, we invested so much time and look, now it ends like this and everyone's mad. Game of Thrones is usually an example I always put. I say everyone's like, oh, Game of Thrones is really, really good. And it is. It's a great show. The ending sucked. The couple last seasons was terrible. So you invested so many years in this, and then look what happens. Where I could watch a movie in an hour, in 20, maybe 2 hours, and say, hey, it sucked or it was good, and go on with it.
That's
So,
good. That's a way to go. Good way to go about it. Never thought about that way. But
Yeah,
definitely.
so that's how I usually take it. But there was the again, she's into like horror movies, so it Welcome to Derry is on HBO Max, and we're slowly watching because I watched the first. I'm like, you know what? I know she liked it. I'm okay. It's Stephen King's or whatever for me. So I was like, you know what? I think she'll like it, and you know what? It wasn't too bad. So now we're watching that together. But every time, like I even because you know how like if you go to like HBO Max or a streaming device and you
Sure.
watch something, it'll show you like where it's at. She's like, "You watched it before without me." I'm like, "Bro, I started and I paused it. Like, calm down, man." Like, so it's
That's the new marriage tripe and all house.
exactly it really is. And then I try to
Oh, you watched the
restart
episode
it.
of that? That you didn't wait for me? And I'm
Yeah,
like,
so I try to
oh no, I didn't.
restart it, and it really doesn't work because depending on what TV you're at, it'll leave it off. I'm like,
That's the
so
thing. Somebody will watch it. Like I'm like, yeah, I don't know who a house sitter from like last year had
yeah,
that
exactly.
on Netflix. Maybe they watched it. I don't know. Like, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? So anything's possible. But I agree with you. Yeah, it's funny. Man. Oh
Um,
man.
let's talk about um the creative process with writing your books, of
Yeah.
how you kind of dabbled your way into being an author and stuff like that, which like I said, I love the books. My mom just took the damn books. I had the books here and then she took them. So I would show you, but I mean, you saw them
No,
earlier, but
I understand. I'm glad that they're getting used. Yeah, I don't. You know, it's funny. I had not. My wife is a writer. She
Mhm.
was managing an imprint for a
Okay.
children's publishing company, and she it was actually her idea. She's like, oh, you need to write a book. Or my boss wasn't her boss, maybe kind of her partner or whatever. In this, like, it was like, oh, I really need for you to write a book. I had already kind of crafted a career in children's music alongside with her, and I was writing. I'm the primary songwriter in the work and stuff, and she's like, yeah, they think it would be a good idea if you wrote a book. And there had been talks previously with publishers about turning some of the songs into books and stuff like that, and
Because
that
that
was
could easily be turned, right? Just the
it
way,
could it could and it can't. I mean, I think it's like I think oftentimes
right?
one could do that, but I don't know. In order to make it extra special, I think the narratives for me have to be fresh because I think children's picture books are great. They're like 3-minute pop songs. They're
Yep.
32 pages, super concise.
Mhm.
You got to get this narrative arc going. Like, got to be really punchy and fast, but fun and rhythmic and musical for me. So I equate it to like, well, if I want to write a 3-minute pop song, which I do,
Mhm.
I want to do that in 32 pages, and that's how I approach writing my books. And I kind of have a format where
Okay.
I wouldn't write a novel like
Mhm.
it. They're just different things. Like I, you wouldn't expect a fish to climb a tree, like
Mhm.
Ben Franklin says, right? Or someone says this. Maybe it's Einstein, but I, yeah. So I think the format works really well for me. So my wife and but I told my wife, no, I can hardly compose sentences, so I don't think that's a good idea. Like I'm not a writer. I
Mhm.
love writers,
Mhm.
but I didn't see myself as a writer in that respect, and so some time goes by and then she's like, I really, like the deal was a little funky. And so she's like, man, really, can you really try to do this? And I was like, okay, well, you know what? I'm gonna give it a go.
Mhm.
And like for Paletero Man, like that story really happened. I took our daughter to the park and I just didn't have I forgot to bring any cash with me. And the Paletero was like, don't worry about it. Like you can just have it, you can pay me on some other day. And I just thought that was such a powerful act of generosity because now this person hauls this cart like through a hot city for almost no money from a place he's probably not from and making probably 5 cents a paleta and just giving it to our daughter. Our daughter was already like halfway finished with the paleta. And I'm like, oh man. And so like it struck me on the way home. I was like, well, that's like my story. And I had already had a song about the paletero. It just wasn't a children's book. It was just a song. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. And so like I kind of was like, well, let me revisit the idea. I really like the idea that of this story that just like happened. And so I was able to do that and write it down. And then, subsequently, like, thankfully I had my wife to like help me edit it and stuff and to
Mhm.
really kind of hone that in because she's a great editor on top of being a great writer and helped me get it to a place where it was like really good. And I and that was it. And she had an agent, and I sent it to Sarah, who's now my agent. And Sarah's like, yeah, like, that the deal that my wife had initially had for the genesis for me as the catalyst for me to start writing kind of fell apart. And so, I had an opportunity to have it published at Harper's, and that was it. So that was the beginning of it.
And how about the person who drew the pictures and stuff? You kind of do it.
Oh, yeah, Micah. I love Micah. So we've been friends for about as long as I've been friends with Craig White. I love illustrators, and Micah Player and I were already friends. And Nancy at Harper's was working with Mike on something else, and was like, "How about Micah Player? Illustrate Paletero Man?" And I was like, "What a great idea!" And we both have we're very close. We're friends already, and we were already creative partners. He had already made like the a lot of the collateral for the band and stuff, and so album covers and stuff like that. And so it was like an easy transition to trust, to do that together. And he's a genius. I'm grateful that we are in this together. And yeah, and so what I do is I do this like photo safari. So I
Mhm.
go through, like, when I write a book or a manuscript, I go and it gets sold. I go through the city of LA where these stories are based, in this hyper focused LA, and I go take photos of the things I imagine and what the things that are influencing me. and
Okay.
and Micah, a former Southern Californian, also already has like a real touch on it. So he already knows his California, and he's made this like really gorgeous place where we can, I don't know. And now if you read it in Dallas, or
Mhm.
you read it in Miami, you read it in New York City, I feel like not only do you get to connect, one gets to connect with that culture, whatever this Mexican Chicano cultural experience is, but you get to connect with the city of LA, and that is exciting to me because LA, we're having such a hard time right now, but like there's no denying that LA is such a powerful cultural place, like a place that influences so much culture in the world. And so, whether it's lowrider culture, music, fashion,
Mhm.
the California dream, it's automatic. It's like, oh, California, oh wow, the promise, like what the gold, like and I would want to. That's what we try to communicate in these, I think.
Definitely. And I think I agree, and it does. And I love just the color combination. I think that's one thing to get, children, right? Not only is the type of words used, because I've seen a lot, like even with like Dr. Seuss books, it's repetition. It's kind of the same thing, and you just add another word, add another word. But not only that, it makes it engaging for the kids, but the picture wise, the color wise, the way like things just kind of like pop out onto the screen and onto your eyes. I think it's something that's,
Oh, thanks. I'm proud of them. I think that and I also, when I was a kid, the only book that my family had was Green Eggs and Ham in terms of the children's book. We didn't have a lot of things. And so, but I wore out that book. And if you think about the pros of, I will not have green eggs and ham,
Mhm.
not Sam I am. And I think it's like such a musical phrase,
Yep.
it's so
Like
musical.
it just comes off the like you can almost like sing it. Like I think there was a guy on
Oh, I'm
on,
sure someone's already
on
singing
yeah,
Dr.
he was like rapping it.
Nice.
And because again, it has every Dr. Seuss book has it's it's rhyming, and kids like rhymes, and it's enjoyable. So I get that part of
It's a song. I mean,
it.
it's musical. I mean, like the opening on Paletero Man, the opening stanza is like, on the hottest month, on the hottest day in the city of dreamers, California, LA, I grab my dinero and I make my way to find my friend Paletero Jose. That is like literally a micro song. You
Yep.
know, it's like there's some bounciness to it that I
Mhm.
really also it also sets it up like a kind of like a pilot episode of a show or something. It's like this
Definitely.
is what's gonna happen. This is where we are. This is what this is the quest I'm on. So
And it's a nice little introduction to Spanish, little small words for
yeah.
children that don't know anything like that. Like my kids, yeah, they they are Cuban slash Mexicans, but they're very gringo. They're very white. They're very whitewashed. So like even them like talking and stuff, they're like, oh, how do you? You know, my kids know a little bit of Spanish, but with the books and stuff, I do like, hey, try to sound this out. Look at this, and now you know because of the books, because of the other things that are surrounding them, they could at least help them out. You know, and I think
And
it's a nice little
yeah,
thing.
and I think that that for me is really important because
Yep.
being a Chicano, being a Mexican born here in the US and having the influences that are American, always finding my own personal footing and being Mexican was challenging. And then like speaking Spanish, but then having that tia or tío that would be like criticizing your Spanish was always a very stressful thing. And so like I I guess part of me is also wanting to like have I don't know, just having that the accessibility for kids to feel like they can learn without being pressured and also being proud of being culturally Latinos, you know?
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
that's something that's like I want them to be, and also even for people that are not Latinos, like to be able to say words like paleta
Mhm.
and not be afraid of like how that word is said. It's like,
Definitely.
someone will say it and they're like, oh, well, that's, that's all wrong.
Mhm.
Um, and I'm like, uh, well, it's not all wrong. I mean, you're saying it, and that effort is something. So if you can manage to say something, like then you did it. And I think that that's why I kind of try to do the code switching in the language in the books, and it's like, like that one,
I think it gives it its own little zip to the storytelling, which I love, you know, of the whole Spanglish going on, English,
It
Spanish
is. I
going
mean,
on.
I think I'm a self-proclaimed I'm a pocho,
Yep.
which means like, different things to different people. But for me, embracing pochoism and feeling like maybe not enough sometimes, not feeling, feeling displaced, feeling not Mexican enough, not feeling not American enough is as something that I carry with me on a daily basis. But I'm embracing that by being who it is I am, which is both those things in East LA. Like this is me. Like, I love my tacos. I also love like my bacon wrapped hot dogs, like my hamburgers. Like I don't know. I like rock and roll. Like I love The Cure or like Guns N' Roses. And I also love, Los Lobos Los Bookies or, you know,
Alejandro Fernandez.
yeah, claro, man. So I love all of these, right? So like I'm in like, it's like I'm all that we're all the things. And so I feel like those books, my work is an extension. I like to think of it as an extension of those things and that people can get into. Yeah.
Love it, love it. Is there anything else on your way with books? Was there a certain amount of books you had to kind of publish or create
Yeah,
or
I have a few different things coming out.
yeah?
I have another installment of this series coming. There's going to be a Fix It Familia Spanish and English version coming out this spring. And then I also have a Tonys coming. I don't know if you know what the Tonys are.
No, I don't.
They're like these little like figurines. You should check them out. Your kids are a perfect age for this. They're like it's like a little digital music box. So
Okay.
no time, and they come with figurines. I like highly recommend you go see this. And it's called Tonies,
I'm looking
Tonys,
now.
and it's a music box and you put a figurine on it. It's got a near field chip and it plays content, music, like
Oh, I see what you're talking about.
uh
They
that
sell
are
them at Target.
you get them at Target, get them at Walmart, get them like
Okay.
on Amazon. And
I've never
so
seen this in my life. This is
yeah, it's really, dude, I highly recommend you get one. I mean, they're a
okay.
little pricey. Like it's an investment, but definitely like very, very cool because it enables your kids to not be focused on a screen.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
now
I can listen.
the Tony's Box 2 is really cool because it has like games. So for your younger one, they can actually you put a little device thing on it that comes with it, and you can like a Switch style thing.
Okay.
You can do all the I don't know, it has like a lot of great content. And so that's coming next month. No, coming in January.
Cool.
So I'm excited
Cool.
about that. And then yeah, I'm working on another book in 27. Wait, 20, yeah, 27. And just trying. There's a lot of I just try to keep it going. I'm
Nice.
working yeah, I'm currently working on a new record or whatever it'll be. I don't know. I never know if I have another song inside of me, man. But I feel like there's always another song, but I'm always hesitant to say when it'll show up.
No
So
doubt.
yeah, yeah.
I get you, man. I get you.
Anyways.
But man, before I let you go, I want to say I appreciate everything you're doing, man. You're doing great. I mean,
Oh, thanks, man.
books, the music, it's all inspiring, and it's good to see something with so much passion behind it, and
Oh,
trying
thanks.
to connect, man. Especially now in this day and age, man. The world's crazy, and I feel like there's less people trying to motivate people to do better or just connect each other. And like we talked a little bit earlier. So
Man, I really appreciate that, man, and I appreciate you doing your podcast and having me as a guest and doing and promoting, you
yeah,
know, this work and the work of others, and it's something that's so important, and I appreciate you doing and making. I mean, I think like as another from one maker to another, thank you to for keeping it going and it's such a and as also as a parent, like to show your kids that you're making stuff and that you're doing things like that it's important to just make stuff. And so thanks for doing that. And
yeah.
I have to make my way to Dallas so we have some tacos, man. We have some Texas.
Do it, man. I mean, you can always come over. I know Craig was saying something about coming to Dallas soon to go get some lunch. I said, hey man, whenever you want,
He's
man.
got his family in Houston.
Yeah, I know he was telling me about it. So I'm like, yeah, whenever, man. We'll do something. I can make the trip and stuff
Yeah,
like
man. Yeah, man. I'm in all the way.
that.
Well, thank you for having me, dude. I
Hey,
appreciate
man.
it.
It's been an honor, man, and God bless, buddy.
Yeah, thanks, man.